Welcome to this explainer. Let's jump right in. Picture this. You just turned 65. You wake up on a random Tuesday morning, your retirement account completely maxed out, house is paid off, and your investments did exactly what your financial advisor promised. You literally did everything right. But then you look around, and there is absolutely no one to call. No one coming over to visit. There is no one who truly knows you. Which really forces us to ask a pretty profound question. What if the absolute greatest risk to your future isn't running out of money, but running out of people? Today, we're diving into the data and the sociology behind why your social circle might actually matter way more than your savings account. And the stakes here? They're emotional, they're biological, and they are incredibly high. Okay, let's dive into this. For decades, we've been basically hardwired to secure our financial futures, right? But as a result, we're living through this wild, society-wide paradox. While our retirement accounts are growing, our social networks are shrinking. We're saving more cash than ever, yet experiencing record levels of isolation. This isn't just some quirky cultural shift. It is a massive, heavily overlooked public health crisis that we really need to understand. Section 1. The American Retirement Illusion. So to understand how we got here, we've got to look at the one single metric Americans have been trained to obsess over for generations, the retirement number. You know the drill. We pour all our energy into 401ks, IRAs, and index funds. And yeah, sure, this laser focus has totally boosted our financial literacy, but it's come at this steep, quiet cost to our emotional literacy. Modern capitalism heavily rewarded individual financial achievement, which is great, but unintentionally, it completely weakened our collective sense of belonging. We built these incredibly robust portfolios, but we entirely stopped building our villages.
Moving on to Section 2, the hidden loneliness epidemic.
And this brilliantly illustrates what the financial planners are missing. The data behind this hidden crisis is just heavy-hitting. Take the Harvard study of adult development. It's been running for over 80 years, making it literally one of the most comprehensive studies on human well-being ever conducted. Their conclusion? It's absolute. The strongest predictor of long-term happiness and health is not your wealth, it's not fame, and it's not your professional success. It is simply the quality of your relationships. We've been optimizing for the completely wrong long-term metric. So just how dangerous is it to ignore those relationships? Well, the U.S. Surgeon General officially declared loneliness a public health epidemic. They cited studies showing that chronic loneliness increases your risk of premature death by about the same amount as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. Let that sink in for a second. 15 cigarettes. This isn't just about feeling a little sad. Social isolation actively spikes your risk of heart disease, stroke, and dementia. And the craziest part? It is everywhere. Right now, basically 1 in 2 American adults report feeling lonely, 50%. Think about how wild that is. We currently live in the wealthiest country in human history, yet half the population is walking around emotionally bankrupt. Let's get into Section 3, why we lost connection. So how exactly did we end up here? Let's deconstruct this by looking at how the American dream has structurally shifted. The old American dream had its focus firmly on community. Success meant neighborhood barbecues, church attendance, joining unions, things that resulted in deep intergenerational bonds and profound friendships. But the new American dream? The focus shifted entirely to the individual. Now, our markers of success are net worth, flashy career titles, and lifestyle upgrades. And the outcome is a society built on job hopping, cross-state moves, and remote work isolation. We move for better opportunity, which builds the portfolio, sure, but it means leaving your entire support system in the rearview mirror. And to make matters worse, that isolation is being compounded by some massive structural pressures. Take social media. It promises connection, right? But really, you end up with 800 friends online and literally no one to help you move a couch. Then there's the housing crisis, which is actively pushing young people further and further away from their extended families just to find affordable rent. Add in the economic pressure of dual-income households causing severe time poverty, we just don't have the hours to invest in friendships anymore. And finally, declining social trust. Endless polarization and outreach cycles are just eroding our communities. Honestly, humans simply were not built for digital substitution and this level of sustained isolation. Section 4. The cost of isolation. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how perfectly it captures the real-world bill that's coming due. Let's contrast 2 totally relatable American scenarios. First, John in Ohio. He's 62, has a rock-solid 401k, and worked 40 years at the exact same company. But the second he retires, he realizes his coworkers were his entire social network. He is perfectly financially secure, but emotionally, he's deteriorating sitting at home. Now look at Maria in Texas. She's 70 with very modest savings, but she lives right near her sister and neighbors she's known for 25 years. She hosts dinners, she volunteers. Her bank account is definitely smaller, but her life is immensely fuller. You really got to ask yourself, who is actually wealthier here?
And the consequences of John's scenario, they scale up to a pretty terrifying degree. On a macro level, having a socially disconnected, aging population is a massive economic liability. It drives up healthcare and Medicare spending because isolated folks have higher hospital admission rates and take way longer to recover. And on a biological level, your nervous system evolved in a tribe. When you feel excluded, your brain doesn't just feel sad, it interprets that isolation as literal physical danger. That means chronic loneliness keeps your stress response constantly activated, flooding your body with cortisol that actively damages your organs and rewires your decision-making behavior over time.
Which brings us to Section 5, rebuilding your social wealth.
Okay, I know that all sounds super heavy, but let's move to and see how this builds into something totally optimistic. We can actually fix this. Here's a clear game plan to start compounding your social wealth right now. Step 1. Treat your social capital exactly like your financial capital. Protect it. Literally schedule your friendships like you'd schedule an important business meeting. Step 2. Design your retirement around people, not just money. Plan out your community before you clock out for the last time. Step 3. Reduce digital substitution. Commit to swapping out just 1 hour of scrolling a week for a real-life coffee meetup. And Step 4. Advocate for community-centered policies, things like walkable neighborhoods and shared community spaces, because social infrastructure matters just as much as physical infrastructure.
So, I want to challenge you directly on this right now. Who are your 5 closest relationships? And more importantly, would they actually show up for you in a crisis? We really need to start evaluating our relational portfolios with the exact same scrutiny we give our investment portfolios. And even more crucial, we have to model this and teach these values to the next generation so they don't inherit a totally fractured society.
Because here is the bottom line. Money can absolutely buy you comfort, for sure. But it cannot buy a life that feels witnessed. It can't buy someone sitting beside your hospital bed when things go wrong. America taught us for generations to chase financial independence. But what the data is screaming at us right now is that we desperately need to be chasing relational interdependence. I want to leave you with this final, genuinely beautiful thought. The richest retirement is not the one with the biggest balance. It's the one with the most chairs around the table. This really flips everything we know about planning for the future upside down. I'd love to know where you stand on this. Drop a comment below and tell me, what matters more to you right now, money or meaningful relationships? And please share this explainer with someone you know who is working incredibly hard for their retirement, but just might be forgetting to build a life worth retiring into. Let's rebuild America's social wealth together. Thanks so much for learning with me today.